Yeah. Welcome back to Sitting with Ashley. I'm Ashley. Alright, this is a collective combo, but I'm not quite sure which one yet. I have 5 topics here. Let's do comparing and competing. Okay. Usually that's subconscious process, for the most part. And it's no good. No bueno, my friend. Okay? When we compare or compete with others, usually that stems from a place of unknowing within our own life journey, or a projection of some sort. It's kind of the same thing. But I'm not talking. That's an interesting. Okay. Okay, so one of the reasons that this is so common in our society is because of the competitive sports model, as well as just this system in general and the way that it exists, the way that we compete for positions, we compete for everything, right? We compete constantly. It's the rat race. So it's just natural to, I mean, it's unnatural, but it is natural within the context of this society in which we live to compete with one another. All right? I know. It's just the first day. They'll get better. Anyway, when we compare ourselves, so I did a collective convo about jealousy and envy that kind of feels like you should watch both of these together. If this is something that you're either dealing with, someone competing with you unknowingly, the point, the goal is to get to a place of loving yourself and not needing to compare your path or your decisions or your anything with someone else outside of you, right? The goal, but how we find ourselves in these, it's kind of a self-sabotage, right? Like a self-sabotaging behavior, because it can ruin relationships, it can make things awkward, it can also just be uncalled for. I think that it's very deeply, of course I'm thinking about my relationship to my mother, because I never wanted to compete with my own mother. I don't know why I would. But I think it's actually really common for families to have that unspoken animosity, especially like rivalry, right? Like sibling rivalry and shit. I don't fucking know. This shit is unhealthy. I do know that. So the point is like, if you're doing that, why? Like, figure out why you feel the need to compete or compare your whatever you got going on with others. I mean, outside of this system too, because we understand that that's like a system. It's a systemic pressure because it's constant. It's constant in jobs. It's constant in sports, like entertainment. It's constant in, you know, rap battles. It's not my place, but it's just a place that I see competing. I think, again, there's a fine line between whether or not that's healthy or not. But all of that to say is that when we're exposed to so much competition as either a means to entertain us or whatever, the people around us, it's human to take that as a subconscious behavior, to embody that as something, right? I'm thinking of two rights don't make a wrong. Right now, meaning just because it's, something that you're surrounded with doesn't mean it's something that you need to take on or embody, because it is fucking unhealthy. The reason I was thinking about my mom is there are so many times that she made these like sideways ass comments to me about either my body or my hair or my, I don't know, like, oh, your hair is not as wavy as mine, or oh yeah, we have the same body type, right? I don't I don't hate myself. I did for a long time, but I recognized that that was something that my oppressors wanted me to do. So when I realized that I was actually benefiting the people in my life who wanted me to feel a certain way about myself as opposed to and like going against myself. So like then because we embody this, it becomes like a competition within self, which is super unhealthy. We need to be whole, we need to be honest, we need to be well, I mean you can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're over here and you want to heal and you know you're going through these processes of decolonizing or shadow work or whatever, then yeah, for sure. You need to recognize when it is that you are either putting yourself in an unnecessary competition or comparing your path or way with others. And again, this is a very fine line. It's okay to see something that someone else has done or built or created or mastered and be inspired and take your own action within inspiration to do what you need to do to execute that as well, versus seeing someone doing that and automatically hating them or feeling smaller than them or wanting them to fail because you aren't there. Whatever it is that you're competing with or comparing yourself to, they had their process too. We've all had our processes to get to where we are. We've all have made decisions. We all looks really weird. We've all been in a place of either feeling inspired or feeling competitive. But that competition is like another line of division that the systems and powers that be want us to take up within each other, right? And so comparing, what is that saying? There's a saying about this. Comparison is the thief of joy, maybe? If it's not a saying, it is now. When you compare your path, your process, your education, your passion, whatever it is, outside of capitalism, there's really no need to do that. We're all made different. We all have different desires and things that make us excited and ways that we want to change ourselves. We all have different paths for a reason, right? As do wildflowers. They all look different, right? Tree types. There's different types. Do you think the birch tree compares itself to a weeping willow tree? No, they don't. They are just trees. They are perfect the way that they are, right? Do you think that the rose compares itself to a tulip? Fuck no. Okay? There's no need to compare just because or compete. And a lot of the times, like I said, it is a subconscious practice. It's just been so deeply embedded within us that it's something we do automatically. And when we feel those uncomfortable feelings arise, when we do see someone that we are inspired by, but our body or our mind, because of where we are within our own process and self-acceptance journey, takes it as a place of threat, right? That's why there's the competing aspect. There's some sort of misinformation, the indoctrination we received, that processes that information about someone doing their own goddamn thing, being successful about it, you know, and it turns it into a threat within our bodies. That's when we have to, that's my ring light. There's the pirate ship. That's when we have to acknowledge the feeling that we have. And it's either jealousy or envy or something else slightly uncomfortable that when the feeling arises, we just shut down. Because again, within the system that we've been indoctrinated into, we've also been encouraged to deny our own feelings, question the way we respond to things, right? Because we've been spoon-fed this narrative about how to be. We've been spoon-fed this narrative about each of, like, the neoliberal, like that's an unnatural way to feel. No, it's not. It's just a matter of how you carry it out. I still see people that I, like, oh man, I wish. Like, I saw a chick on a yacht, and I'm like, please, I would love that. Am I anywhere near to having my own yacht? No, not right now. Would I love that? Fuck yeah. Alright, I've always wanted a houseboat. That has always been my preferred house. Okay? When I first got the RV, I was gonna put it on a boat, and I'm like, you know what, let's just put some barrels underneath this shit and make it float. Take me to a goddamn lake. Let me live in a houseboat. I don't care. Anyway, but a yacht, right? Like, I've never even thought that for myself. So anyway, I'm just saying, it's normal. And how'd she get that yacht? Probably really, really bad ways of living and life and things that I would never do. Like soul selling things. But I would... But either way, see, you're already seeing this process. I'm comparing my ethics to her ethics. I don't know anything about this chick that has a yacht. I know I want a yacht. So I'm jealous, right? I'm jealous of that. Envious? Not so much. I know what it's like to have your own things. It's very expensive. I don't know if I can afford that. Not on my bank account right now. So anyway, all that to say is, when we see something we desire, or we see someone doing something that is seemingly out of reach for us, I will have a houseboat in Seattle one day. Mark my motherfucking words. Ew! What do you mean, ew? Not Seattle? Okay, fine, we can go somewhere else. Anyway. Ew. Ew, I don't even want to know. What did you do? He's taking a bath. He's back into baths, and they've become his favorite thing again. This is his, I think, second one today? I don't care. It gives me a minute. I'm happy he's in the water. We want to live in a houseboat. We live in the water. Anyway, you don't need to compete with anyone. You don't need to, I mean, unless you're in, like, organized sports, right? But, like, even the school system, right? Like, who's the valedictorian? It can only be one person. So then, like, everyone else is like, okay, cool, I'll fall back. Like, I'm not even going to try, right? Like, it's indoctrination within our system. It's constant. I get it. But when it happens on an interpersonal level, right? That's why we're making the collective convo about it, because it is such a common fucking thing. We don't have to do it. You know, you don't have to participate in these things, and in these unhealthy traits or behaviors or characteristics or ways of being that others within the system have told us we have to do. No, we don't. We don't have to do anything that these motherfuckers say. Really, we don't. We can do whatever the fuck we want while we still have the time to do whatever the fuck we want. We really can, you know? We can just do it. You can do it. Alright, anyway. Is that it? So, when we are imbalanced within our masculine and feminine, within a patriarchal system, most of the competition is toxic masculinity, toxic masculine behaviors, right? Or feminine. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what body you're in. But the patriarch itself is why I say it's like toxic masculine energy, because, you know, like dick size shit. You know, if that, you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway. The competition, the need for external validation is another big factor, right? I just did a collective convo on that. I think it was the last one, maybe? Second to last one, I don't know. I don't want him to hear this song because I don't want him to get out of the bath. Hold on, please. Hold on. Where are you going? Oh, wow, I am really not changing the song fast enough. Oh, I kind of fell in love with this song today. Anyway. I'm doing my best not to compete with the women I found on TikTok who had this haircut. Because it looks different. Because I have a different face. You know? Someone watching may think it's really cute. I'm not so sure about it yet. But it's because I'm not used to my face looking like that. So, anyway. There's no need to compete with others. We all have our own path. We all have our own things. The work is to get out of a place of ego that makes you want to compete. That feels a necessity to ultimately be something you're not. Because when you have a solid sense of yourself, the things you enjoy, the things you are passionate about, you create your own path. You are in a lane of your own, you know? And that's what we're supposed to do while we're alive. We're supposed to explore and find the things that we want. We're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to let others shine, you know? Just because someone else has something doesn't mean there's not enough for you. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy of also getting to that point or receiving those things. And remember, what's for you will never pass you by, right? Rejection is protection. If this is like a relationship or something, you know? And remember that people have free will. If it's a relationship, ultimately, anyone, you know? Your free will doesn't override anyone else's, ultimately. And I think that's a really important... We all have the same amount of free will. We all have the same... Well, within these systems of oppression, that's not true. More people have more abilities to make decisions than others, okay? But again, that's the system that was designed to keep us competing, to keep us comparing, to keep us consuming, you know? Oh, well, she did that, so she bought that, and then that happened. Okay, so I'm not... Like the yacht. She got a yacht. Now I feel like I want a yacht. So, you know, just constant consumption, constant comparing, constant... catastrophe. It had to be a C word, okay? It's a little extreme. But no, it really is. I mean, when we constantly compare and bring others down with our own lack of self-esteem, either subconsciously, unconsciously, or consciously, right? There's some people who have a problem with anyone and everyone, right? There are people in the world that exist like that. It looks really weird, right? So when that happens, what's the common denominator there? The one person that has a problem with everyone, right? Not necessarily the people in the interaction outside of that. So if you're the person that has a problem or wants to compete or feels jealous or, you know, wants to humble someone, or I don't know what people do to other people, try and cheer people on. There was a moment in my journey where I had to ask myself, why? I had to ask myself if I was truly happy for people. And I think it was a couple, and I like hardly knew them, and I was like, why am I not happy for these people who have found love, who have come into partnership? You know, this has nothing to motherfucking do with me. Why am I... No. Hang on. Fucking loser. Alright. And the answer, you know, because I was in this process of healing myself, was no, I'm not happy for them. And I was like, why? Do I like one of these people? And no, it was just stemming from a space of, I wish I had that love. And as a person who has always worn their heart on their sleeves my whole entire life, you know, I finally got one tattooed. And look, I don't know if I've ever shown you, this is a shark ring. So I have like a little shark guarding my heart. Anyway, that was my moment where I was like, oh, I'm like, I don't like these people. I don't hate that they're together. It's just that I wish I had that, you know? kind of like the yacht at this point in my life. I would prefer a yacht than a partner. I already did the marriage thing. I'm good on that. But anyway, I hope this helps. Don't feel the need to compete, regardless of what the system tells us. I know the system tells us constantly, constant competition. It's a form of decolonizing to stop doing these behaviors and to acknowledge that you are in the first place. But to like not get stuck, like not to get sucked up into that rat race mentality where like there's not enough of anything, right? Of any given whatever, right? Be it love, produce, toilet paper, I don't fucking know. There's enough. There's enough, alright? And we don't need to compete and compare. We need to, pave our own way. And use people that you do get those feelings from as inspiration. And a way, when we get those feelings, those are our body, when triggers happen or whatever, that's our body telling us that, like, oh, if I'm still being triggered by this, it's something that I still need to heal. It's something that needs some attention from me. That's it, that's all, right? We don't need to go into, don't really need to do anything else besides acknowledge that and try to get to the root. God, these need to grow up. I need to get anyway. We need to get to the root